Hello there, only one Kenobi here. I just want to talk to you this morning about, well, depending on what time of the day you're watching this, it could be the afternoon. I want to talk to you about head swapping, because head swapping is something that is essential part of doing any kind of army building. I don't do a lot of head swapping myself. Some head swaps can be perfect and some can need your attention, but it all depends on the size of the ball joint on the figure that you are dealing with. So in this video, I want to show you a few successful ball swaps, head swaps that work, and then what you could do to sort it out yourself. Now basically at the minute in the UK there is a lot of these guys flying around and they're only £3.75 in the Entertainer. So I personally as a collector would hate to display more than one of these guys with the same face, you know, because you can tell. So here is a head swap that I have done using two figures. There is the original on the right, and this guy here has had his head swapped, and what I used for that head swap was this. Now this is the Black Series Royal Guard, which is a repack of the Vintage Collection Royal Guard. And the guy inside that helmet there, so he has a removable helmet as well. Not that you ever see who the Royal Guard are in the movie, but his head is a perfect swap for the Navy Commander. So that's just something to keep in mind. So again, you can get lucky and you can get sometimes unlucky with these types of things. As I say, the head swap is a complete match. If you take the heads off, you'll see that the balls, well, obviously they're evenly matched, but what I'm saying is when you put them on, you get an even match. So one thing that doesn't match is this. Now you might remember I did a bit of a head swap for a Han Solo figure the other day. Ooh, that's quite hard to get on that one. I swapped this Han Carbonite and this Rogue One 5 points of articulation Stormtrooper, but they do not work. In fact, they do work. They look very good. Look at that. So that's what I did. So I've kind of recycled open Vintage Collection packaging to make myself a custom Han Solo Stormtrooper. But if you watch this now, if I take the head off that Han, which I'm going to put on the Stormtrooper, bear with me with focus here because I'm looking at what I'm doing, and it's a phone I'm using. So if I put this on here, look at that. It does not even plug on, it's loose. So there's a way around that. I haven't actually done anything to mine because he's inside the packaging and he's locked and secure. However, what would you do in the real world? Well, I've discovered I would like to explore, discuss a few ideas, and please in the comments box let me know what you think you'd do. One option is to glue it solid. Now I use a glue gun for all sorts of things in my life. I wouldn't recommend, you could use, well, super glue if you were going to make it a permanent thing, but with a glue gun, sponsored by Bosk Legend. Bosk? No, by Bosch. Sponsored by Bosk. Bosk's Bounty, yes. What you could do with the glue gun is you've got to be very careful with it. You could put a blob of glue on the end there, wait for it to kind of solidify, then using, I'd say, a lolly stick or something that's solid, that's not your skin because it would burn you, you could maybe smear around the ball joint and you would make obviously more volume on the head of the ball. So then that would probably sit on and maybe plug a bit more stiffer. Or you could use, of course, depending on what you're doing with it, if it's just for your own personal uses and nobody else is going to know about it, you could use a tiny wad of blue tack, of which I'm going to put that on this now, on the head of the ball, or the top of the ball, and then put this on it. Probably maybe use too much there. I put that on there, and look at that, you see? Solid as a rock. Brilliant. But if you're going to be selling that to somebody and then they find out that you put blue tack in it, they aren't going to be pleased, are they? So they're your options anyway, so that's what you can do. Speaking of other head swapping that might be of interest, only purely because they are cheap, the Rebel, what's he called now? The Republic Trooper. Check this out. Now this guy I've actually used, funnily enough. Look at that. That is the head of a Navy Commander, which is this guy here. He actually fits on like a glove onto the Republic. I keep calling him the Republic Trooper, I'm so sorry. The Naboo Royal Guard. So that's perfect. And also check this guy out. I've used this guy, which is a head I had from a really poor figure that came from China or somewhere, a bootleg. That's the official Clone Trooper pilot. But then I got this guy, which had, you can tell by the quality of the helmet's awful. You might have seen these on eBay, but you might recognize that guy there. That is the actual face for the Naboo Royal Guard. But I swapped off this guy, which is like a really lame looking Bodhi Taylor, That's not too bad, actually. That's actually, well, I harshly criticised that there, but I've obviously done it. So I have now 3 different royal guards. I've got these 2, and if you bear with me, this is something I haven't prepared. I'm sorry. Yeah, here he is. Now the reason you might want to head swap these guys is because they're so cheap on eBay. These are like one of the most least expensive vintage collection figures, and do you know what? They are really good figures, and they're just good for army building. But again, I would not want loads of fellas on a display looking the same, because they ain't clones, man. They're all individuals. So there is at least 3 different figures. The other one must be in the box still. The one I have loose, which is the original one. So there you go. How about that? Bit of head swapping. And my final thing I wanted to show you, this is a bit of a joke really. You know I'm expecting a barge. Well, as you know, I head swapped my Han Solo Carbonite with the Stormtrooper, and that's gone inside packaging now. But then I thought to myself, what the hell am I going to do with that? So check that out. That's Han Solo's torso with no head now. But what I found was in here I have a load of accessories. I have lightsabers, spare heads, I've got armor, you name it, loads of stuff in there. So what I found was, this is a Anakin Skywalker from 2005, which is the charred remains of Anakin, which had a swappable head that came with it, so you could have Anakin pre-getting burned, which is right there. And that's an awful facial sculpt of Anakin, I thought. I don't know, it depends what you see with these things. You might think it's good. I never thought that was any good. So what I did was I thought, well, that's a spare head, isn't it? And it fits on this Han Solo body. Like a glove. Well, kind of. And there he is there. And what I did was I put the binders on him. There he is on the back there, and he's got the leg binders. And do you know where he's going? Yes, you've guessed it. Into the prison on Jabba's barge when it arrives. So there's a dead Hammerhead inside that cell, but he's going to be joining him. It doesn't look like Hayden Christensen. It just looks like some sort of random human smuggler or something, maybe someone from Corellia who looks like Han Solo, who knows. But waste not, want not. I'm not going to waste anything when it comes to my collecting, so he is going to find a new home on the barge. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. That's just a bit of a random video I thought about doing this morning. Thank you for watching. This has been Only One Kenobi. Only one. Subscribe for daily uploads. Out.